I honestly think Beyond the Gates just crossed the line from being a dark hospital conspiracy drama into something far more terrifying, a story about power, corruption, and how evil survives by hiding behind people who look calm, intelligent, and trustworthy. And after everything that just happened with Leah, I cannot stop thinking about one question. What if Leah was never the final villain? Because the deeper I look at these clues, the more it feels like the show is deliberately telling us that Leah is both a monster and a pawn. The moment Marcel discovered the hospital camera logs, something completely changed for me. At first, I thought Leah was improvising her crimes, reacting emotionally whenever pressure closed in around her. But no, the fact that she disabled those cameras months in advance using her own internal access code means she anticipated betrayal long before anyone suspected her. That detail is horrifying because it reveals how calculated she truly is. She wasn't covering up one crime. She was building an escape route years ahead of time. And that makes me wonder, who taught her to think like that? People don't suddenly become this strategic overnight. Somebody trained her. Somebody showed her how to manipulate systems, how to erase evidence, how to weaponize fear. Leah acts less like a desperate criminal and more like someone raised inside corruption, almost like she inherited it. That's why I can't shake the feeling that Ren may not even be the true mastermind. Yes, Ren is dangerous. Yes, he clearly helped build the plasma network. But there's something strange about the way the show keeps framing him lately. He looks nervous, reactive, afraid, and powerful men like Ren are usually never afraid unless there's someone above them. The biggest clue for me was Leah's secret recordings. At first, I assumed she recorded Ren because she wanted revenge or immunity. But the fact that she planned to destroy not only Ren, but the hospital, police department, and politicians all at once, that changes everything. That means the corruption isn't isolated. It's systemic. The plasma operation was never just about illegal medicine trafficking. It was infrastructure. A machine connected to institutions that were supposed to protect people. And Leah knows exactly where all the bodies are buried. That line she gave Jacob at the end absolutely chilled me. You think catching me is the end? I'm only one link. That didn't sound like a bluff to me. It sounded like a warning. And honestly, I think Jacob understood that too. What fascinates me most right now is Jacob's psychological collapse. Because while everyone is focused on hunting Leah, the show is quietly showing us that Jacob himself is starting to fracture. Naomi noticing that he's becoming crueler may actually be one of the most important scenes in the entire storyline. Because obsession changes people. Jacob started as someone chasing justice. But now, I think he wants punishment. There's a difference. Justice still has limits. Obsession doesn't. The suicide of the low-level prisoner pushed him over the edge. That scene felt incredibly suspicious to me, by the way. I refused to believe it was a random suicide. The timing was too perfect. The prisoner dies before speaking, and suddenly another loose end disappears. Jacob immediately suspects Leah ordered the hit from inside prison connections, and honestly, I think he's right. But here's where my theory gets darker. What if Leah didn't even need to give the order? What if there are still loyalists inside the system acting automatically to protect the network? That would explain why Leah never panics the way normal fugitives do. Even when she's arrested, she behaves like someone who knows the system still belongs to her. There's always another layer of protection waiting in the shadows. And then came the transport accident. No way, that was accidental. The moment I heard Ren orchestrated the rescue, I realized how terrified he truly is of Leah talking. Think about that for a second. Ren, a man tied to murder, trafficking, corruption, and intimidation, risked everything to prevent Leah from being interrogated further. Why? Because whatever Leah knows is worse than everything we've already seen. That line alone completely changes the scale of the story. Up until now, we believed the plasma operation was the core evil. But what if the plasma ring is actually just one branch of a larger organization? What if the hospital itself is part of a broader experiment involving politicians, pharmaceutical corporations, or even illegal human trials? The abnormal patient deaths Jacob discovered feel extremely important here. The fact that Leah personally approved the final signatures means she wasn't simply laundering blood products. She was choosing victims. That wording matters. Choosing victims implies selection criteria. So now I'm asking myself, why those patients specifically? Were they random, poor, vulnerable, terminally ill? Or were they selected because they witnessed something? And there's another terrifying possibility nobody in the show seems fully ready to confront. What if some of those dead patients aren't actually dead? I know that sounds insane, but hear me out. The show keeps emphasizing falsified records, manipulated hospital systems, erased surveillance, and hidden transfers. In stories like this, fake deaths are often more useful than real ones. If powerful people needed human subjects for experimentation, trafficking, or blackmail operations, declaring patients dead would be the perfect cover. Which brings me to Leah herself. I genuinely cannot decide whether she's irredeemably evil or tragically broken. Part of me hates her. She manipulated Grayson, sacrificed innocent people, framed Ren when convenient, and treated human lives like chess pieces. But another part of me keeps noticing small emotional cracks in her behavior. Especially with Grayson, her control over him felt strangely personal, almost emotional. Not romantic exactly, more like dependency. She needed Grayson loyal because he represented the one person who knew both her human side and her monstrous side. And Grayson, publicly confessing, may have destroyed her psychologically more than the police investigation itself. That scene was brilliant because it flipped public perception instantly. For so long, Grayson looked guilty while Leah remained composed and respected. But once he admitted he acted under threats, the image shattered. Suddenly, people saw Leah not as a victim of Ren, but as the architect manipulating everyone beneath her. Yet, even then, Leah never fully breaks emotionally. That's suspicious. Most people eventually panic when their empire collapses. Leah doesn't. She adapts. She calculates. Even while fleeing Fairmont Crest, she remains cold and focused. Almost like escape was never her ultimate goal. So here's my wildest theory. What if Leah actually wanted to get caught? Not because she wants redemption, absolutely not. But because prison, interrogation, and chaos create leverage. If she possesses evidence capable of destroying politicians and law enforcement, then arrest makes her more dangerous, not less. The moment authorities take her alive, she becomes a nuclear weapon with a voice. And maybe that's exactly why the mysterious real leader still hasn't appeared. Because they're waiting to see whether Leah talks. Marcel refusing the immunity deal was honestly one of the smartest decisions in the story so far. For a moment, I worried he would compromise himself to get quick answers. But he realized something critical. Leah manipulates every system she enters. Courtrooms, hospitals, relationships, media, everything becomes a game board for her. Still, Marcel demanding the identity of the true mastermind might be the thing that gets him killed. I'm serious. The show keeps positioning Marcel as the person closest to uncovering the hidden structure behind the plasma network. Characters who get too close to systemic truth in shows like this rarely survive. And now that Leah disappeared once already, everyone connected to the investigation feels vulnerable. Especially Naomi. I'm extremely worried about Naomi because emotionally she's becoming Jacob's anchor. And when protagonists spiral into obsession, writers often target the one person keeping them human. What if the real mastermind notices Jacob losing control and decides Naomi is the perfect pressure point? That would absolutely destroy him. And honestly, Jacob may already be standing on the edge morally. The terrifying thing is that Leah's final words didn't just haunt him, they infected him. You can see it happening. He no longer trusts institutions. He no longer trusts procedure. Every cover-up convinces him the system itself is rotten. The scary part? He might be right, but that's exactly how people become dangerous. I think the show is building toward a final revelation where the monster isn't one person at all. It's the structure connecting all of them together: the hospital board, political donors, law enforcement contacts, financial laundering networks, and maybe even medical research programs hiding behind philanthropy. Leah merely learned how to survive inside that machine better than anyone else. And if that's true, then her final warning changes meaning completely. Maybe she wasn't threatening Jacob. Maybe she was trying to prepare him. Because if there really is someone above Ren, someone powerful enough to erase deaths, control prisons, move money internationally, silence witnesses, and manipulate entire investigations, then Jacob has only uncovered the surface of the nightmare. And the most disturbing possibility of all, what if the true mastermind has already appeared on screen, pretending to help the investigation the entire time? That's the theory I cannot stop thinking about.